your topic that you're speaking on is leveraging network for successful career transitions.
Yep.
So not necessarily for business connections, but for career transitions.
I have not applied for a job. We looked at it, it was 9 years now. So when I joined Microsoft, I did not apply for that job. The fact that someone said my name in a room when I was not looking is everything. And that is so much of what you need, where it's the here. I need to know who you are as a person, what you bring to the table. Yes, these are things you've accomplished, and these are things the company has accomplished. And for someone who's worked at a very large, well-known name, is that the only reason you want to talk to me, or do you actually want to talk to me?
Speaking of NI88, we talked about the offline. That was the first conference that you attended, right?
First conference I went to with OfferUp, and it was in Florida in the summertime. But they don't tell you how powerful it is to actually have face-to-face time with people with whom you probably would not have run into online or day-to-day.
Welcome back to today's episode of the I'm a Car Chick podcast, and I've got quite the car chick for you guys. Today, we are going to be interviewing another speaker at the annual Women in Automotive Conference happening in August in Nashville. And if you're not going to be there, I'm very disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. But you really should be there. And there's going to be an exclusive code that I'm going to give you for a discount at the end of this episode. So make sure you listen all the way through. But enough about that. I'm going to introduce you to today's guest. She is the Vice President of Partnership Development at Origence. She has been in the automotive industry quite a while and has a vast experience, and is going to talk to you today about networking and connections. Please help me welcome Lizz Callaway. Hi, Liz. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I got to talk to you a little bit before we started recording, and you and I have such synergy on this topic. But before we jump into that, I would love for you to tell our audience and listeners a little bit about yourself, how you got into the industry, and how you got to where you are now.
So I started over a decade ago selling Fords in Southern California, and then I've moved to Seattle and joined a startup that was launching their own dealer program. So I got to be one of their very first salespeople, and that opportunity allowed me to move to product management within that company. And then since then, I have been at Microsoft, and now I'm at Origence and leading their new FI Connect, which is their lender that they've set up to put credit unions in front of more than just dealer opportunities. So it's been a pretty wild ride.
Okay, so this is a topic that you and I connect a lot on. I am very, very passionate about networking. You've heard me say it on the show before, guys. Your network is your net worth, and it's a very important topic. So I want to know, Liz, what made you decide to bring this topic to Women in Automotive, and why is it so important for this audience?
One of the biggest reasons was that I feel like networking has been one of the biggest reasons that I have a career. Me being curious and asking people to sit in on their meetings and ask those questions, those are parts of networking. It is wanting to know what that person is doing, introducing yourself to them, and not just high level like we were chatting about. It's the great, I know your name, I kind of know what your company is, I know what your made up title is, but what are you about? What can you bring to the table? How does it make sense if we wanted to work together, if I needed to refer someone? And so because it really has impacted my career and personally, because a lot of these people are my good friends now, I think it's a very often overlooked soft skill, and that shouldn't be something that we don't focus more on.
Definitely. Especially when you look at networking outside of conferences too. Do you get a chance to do a lot of online, or more so, I guess even also offline, networking with people?
Online, in person, whatever we can do. I am an avid traveler. Everyone who knows me will know that. I even got my travel agent's license. It's that bad. But if I'm in a city and I actually want to see the person I know who lives in that city, most of the time I'll call them, text them, be like, hey, coffee, dinner, breakfast, whatever it might be, drive by the conference that I'm at so I can get a quick hug, whatever it is.
This episode is brought to you by Epic BDC, your #1 outsourced BDC solution. Check out more about Epic BDC by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting epicbdc.com.
it is more than just, I saw you once a year at the big giant conference when all our feet are hurting.
Oh my gosh, the feet are hurting comment.
I switched to Jordans now. We're not doing high heels anymore.
Oh yeah. People ask me all the time, like, I wear Converse. Like, Converse are my things. They're very comfortable. I'm very flat-footed. And so people ask me all the time, like, why are you wearing those?
Yeah.
It's unprofessional. And I'm like, because I don't care what I look like. I care that I can walk and make it through the entire 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, whatever it is. Yep. It's so important to go comfortable. And that's a pro tip, guys. If you're traveling to conferences you've never been before, skip the stilettos, go for the comfy shoes. Like, it doesn't have to be house shoes, but something you can walk in all day. And I see Jordans a lot.
Yeah. One of the companies was given Mountain Year, so then I just got hooked.
Was that, oh my gosh, I think I know. iPacket?
No, I think it was Acertus.
Okay. I saw iPacket giving them away, I think at NI80, so I didn't know if that was another one they were at. So which was speaking of NI88, we talked about the offline. That was the first conference that you attended, right?
First conference I went to with OfferUp, and it was in Florida in the summertime, and it was everything and anything. I had no idea what to expect. We went in there, and there was cigars being rolled, and Big and Rich was playing, and all of these booths and vendors and dealers, and just the parts that they don't tell you about when you first go to conference. You think you're going to sit in sessions, you think you're going to get some swag, but they don't tell you how powerful it is to actually have face-to-face time with people with whom you probably would not have run into online or day-to-day.
What are some of the tips that you've learned doing this that you think are important for other people to know, as far as, maybe I'm not a social butterfly, maybe I'm more of an introvert. Like, how can I best network at in-person events like conferences?
So a lot of the things that people will tell you when they walk around with me is I have absolutely no problem just sticking my hand and saying, "Hi, I'm Liz." And most of the time it's when they're either asking me a question and I'm confused for someone else or whatever it may be. Find your icebreaker. Find something that you can completely own, and it doesn't even need to be fancy or silly or whatever it may be. It could be just the one thing. Okay, great. This will stop conversation. This will make sure that I am introducing myself to this person and making myself known. And, if you want to be fun, you can switch names badges with someone and someone else can be Liz for a day. It's a lot of fun.
I love that. Especially if it's someone that's already met you. And
exactly.
You're not.
Or, someone named Kyle. It's even better.
Kyle's a weird name for a girl.
Yeah.
I like that. What tools have you used to stay connected after conferences with people? Do you mostly use email, social media?
A lot of LinkedIn, a lot of email, text is a big deal. If it's someone that has either shown me that either they have accomplished a lot or are really bright or whatever it may be, I usually follow pretty closely to what they're doing. And if they're talking about it, or I'll check in with them, ask them about how projects were going or how this partnership went or whatever it may be. But most of the time, LinkedIn's probably usually a good reminder that, hey, I wanted to check in with what that person was doing. And so a lot of it is online for sure.
I think you just said something there that kind of, I want to make sure we hit on that. It's very proactive and not reactive.
Very much so.
It's very much like, I almost at one point had created a spreadsheet of all my vendor friends because I wanted to make sure that I knew what they were doing, if they had any projects, which I'm a spreadsheet queen. If you know me, you know that about me. Did you know that there's a monthly newsletter where you can keep in touch with everything that I'm a Car Chick podcast is up to? There is. Check out the show notes below, and you can also follow us on all social media and stay in tune with whatever we're up to. But I wanted to know what projects they were working on, what company they were with, what solution they offered, so that I didn't get it mixed up, because, I could have 2 Facebook friends named Kyle and not remember the difference always between the two of them. And it sounds awful, but like, we meet so many people that it's easy to get people mixed up.
We do. And people move companies and people, their lives change and everything like that. And it can be completely different than the last time you saw them. And so that could be part of it too, because being an active participant, even if you're not the best of friends, but at least being aware of what's going on, means that I feel like you've considered me and you actually are meaningfully talking to me, and not just, ooh, I need to talk to Liz because she's at Origins or whatever it may be.
Do you think it's more important when you're at in-person events to connect with other vendors, or as a vendor, asking this question for the vendors, is it better to connect with other vendors or trying to connect with dealers?
I'd say both. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you really have not major way and have a reputation in this industry or anything like that yet, having a vendor on your side who has already established themselves and is trusted by dealers and is trusted by other vendors and OEMs and so on, it does help for them to have you tag along. Go to that dinner, go to that party, go with them as they go wander the exhibit floor and introduce you to other people. So I would say both, but once you're established, even when you feel like you can at least talk to a few people, if you're trying to sell to dealers and that is what you're trying to accomplish, then knowing who your dealers are and making sure that you're purposely networking with them, then it really just depends on what you're trying to do in that conference and where you are in your career.
And it's important to know there is a right way and a wrong way to approach dealers.
Right. And there's the other thing is like we've worked in dealers. We've also been on vendor side. So all those things change. People go back to dealers too. It can all be full circle.
Yep. It's very true. And what do you think the advice would be a little bit different for a dealer or someone who works for a dealership attending a conference? I mean, obviously going in with the knowledge of, what's your goal out of this, but things to try to avoid. Like we know a lot of people, and you don't see it at NIADA as much as you do at places like NADA or digital dealers, stuff like that, but where the dealers will turn their badges around so that they're not bombarded. And it sucks that they feel like that.
I did that actually. I flipped my badge when I was at Microsoft because they had one of the big conferences has mistakenly for about 2 years in a row had Microsoft as a dealership. And so having a dealer badge, and then trying to explain to people, no, Microsoft did not buy a dealer. No, I did not name my dealership after Microsoft. It was just a clerical error. But having that dealer badge is so overwhelming at a conference because, as a vendor, you're there to try to get dealers to be interested in what you're doing. So I get it. But if you're not prepared or if you're not one who likes to people, it is a lot and it can be very intense. And I think I tried every trick in the book to get people to stop it, but it wasn't.
This episode is brought to you by SCP Agency, your one-stop shop for organic social media. Check them out by clicking the link in the show notes or visit scpagency.com.
It wasn't working. And so I think that if a dealer is going with the intent of, expanding their network, seeing what's going on there, you probably need to have a few more, walls up and everything like that and have, your gut tell you if this is someone you want to talk to or not. Because even if it's not a vendor that you have a need for their service, you might want them to give you their opinion on a different vendor that you're looking at. That you might want them to, let you know what the latest things are or explain something better. Or even, like I said, just get a drink when you're in the same town. So when you're a dealer, I think having that, okay, are they there for me or are they there because I work for ABC Ford?
Right.
So it's a little harder. But as a vendor, man, you really have to approach softly for sure.
Yeah. And it's so much about relationships, which kind of ties in with your topic. So your topic that you're speaking on is leveraging network for successful career transitions.
Yep.
So not necessarily for business connections, but for career transitions.
Absolutely.
So you said you utilized that as well. Like you never had to look for another job.
I have not applied for a job. We looked at it was 9 years now. And well, I guess the last 2 jobs. And that's been super fortunate in that I've had. So when I joined Microsoft, I did not apply for that job. My boss at the time, he said, someone said I should talk to you. To this day, he still won't tell me who that someone was. But the fact that someone said my name in a room when I was not looking is everything. And that is so much of what you need, where it's hey, I'm this vendor or this dealer, and I have this need, whether it's a hiring thing or a vendor thing or whatever it may be. But for your career, they need to know who you are as a person, what you bring to the table. Yes, these are things you've accomplished, and these are things the company has accomplished. And for someone who's worked at a very large, well-known name, is that the only reason you want to talk to me, or do you actually want to talk to Liz? Right. And so it is a really big deal to focus on who knows you when you are looking to, whether it's change companies or change careers, period. I switched from sales to product management. That's a huge non-traditional jump. And I could not have done that without my network.
So I know that you're going to be talking about this in your session, so I don't want to have you give too much away about it. But what are like 1 or 2 tips if somebody's, just not going to be able to attend the conference, anything like that, that we could kind of give them little freebies to help them with that level of networking and building those relationships to have that for a career transition? Because it's like, how do I force people to not force, but how do I get it to where I know people will say my name when I'm not around in a positive way?
It's really about building your foundation of what you're looking for. So are you looking to change your job, or are you looking to become the next level of the current career that you are in? Once you kind of answer that question, great. For my scenario, I wanted to change which job I actually did. But I had no idea what product management meant. Like, I don't think anybody really knows because it's a made up job. And so me being able to be curious and wonder, that was not me committing to doing this whole career transition. This was me getting as much information as possible, doing my research, doing all the boring stuff of, is this something I want to do day in, day out? And I think just like everything else, we get a lot of high level, we get a lot of the fun,
You've made it this far, and I have to say thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to rate the show, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and of course on all social media channels. Light it up.
The reels and the TikToks of this is the shiny and new, but what's the day in look like? And having a network that you can actually say, let me sit in on your meeting, let me watch what you do today, is so much more powerful. So much more powerful than if you just try to do it on your own. And for, say, a career transition where you're actually changing what you're doing, imagine going down that whole path and figuring out you don't like it.
Right? Oh my God.
So go test drive it, go figure it out, go get the actual user feedback and not just the AI review bot, right? So getting that more personalized conversation really can help you make a better decision.
I was talking with somebody about that the other day. They were talking about, looking for new jobs or something along those lines. And I'm like, the importance of talking with people who already work for that employer is so huge.
Yeah, it really is. And the other bit too is once you have started working with people, so say you're a dealer, or say you're a vendor, or whatever it may be, if you work on a project together at the current companies that you're at and everything there, but then something happens. For example, Microsoft decided to no longer support what I was doing, and so we all got laid off. I literally called people that I had worked with at Microsoft, as a vendor. Like, they were the vendors that we were working with, or they were the dealers that we were working with, and said, hey, if you hear of something that you think would be a good fit for me, please let them know that I'm looking. But I didn't need to put my open for work out on LinkedIn or anything like that, or put myself out there, or start the lovely application process. Did that. But I landed my jobs because of people being able to say, oh, Liz is looking. This would be a really good person for you to talk to. And then having them call, right? So big deal.
Is networking also how you got introduced to Women in Automotive, or have you attended conferences in the past?
I don't know if it was a chicken or the egg thing. I went to one a long time ago, and I think it just ended up that I knew or networked with a lot of the people who are in Women in Automotive or on the board and everything like that. And so it was probably one maybe inched out the other, but I don't remember which one.
Interesting. So as an attendee, not just a speaker, but as an attendee, what are you most excited for? Or what are you looking to most get out of this upcoming conference?
I'd love to see what is going to be new and different. We have so much of the same a lot of the times at all these conferences, whether it's here's what's new in tech, or here's what you can do here. And even having sessions that I think that even a couple of the other speakers are talking about, and networking, where it's not often highlighted and focused on. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Definitely. I've seen a lot of the speaker lineup and had the pleasure of getting to see what each of these sessions are about. And I'm really excited for this year. Yeah. Last year was so good. It was the word that just kept being used, and I say it all the time, was just raw. Everybody was like, everyone is so raw and honest and vulnerable. Mm-hmm. That, those true connections were made last year, and it was unforgettable. So, and knowing that was the foundation that we're building on for this year, and getting to see the lineup for this year, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, sounds great.
If anybody wants to connect with you or chat with you ahead of the conference, or ahead of your session, or even afterwards, what's the best way for them to reach out to you and connect with you?
LinkedIn's best. That's where you can find me, Liz with 2 Z's, and Callaway like the golf club.
I like that. I like the Liz with two Z's. That's cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And listeners, I want to make sure that I give you that code that I told you about. So if you have not yet bought your ticket to Women in Automotive and you want to make sure you get there, use your code CARCHICK25, no spaces, no capitals, none of that stuff, just CARCHICK25, and you will receive an exclusive discount on me for the conference. You will not see that code anywhere on social media. You will not see it on any websites. From my lips is the only place you will hear it. So make sure you use that code, write it down so that you have access to it. Liz, I want to thank you again for coming on today. It was a pleasure to get to speak with you, and I cannot wait to meet you in person at the conference and attend your session as well.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Bye, listeners. We'll see you next time.